On July 12th, the tribunal issued a final ruling on the Philippines' lawsuit against China on a dispute in the South China Sea, known as the East Sea in Vietnam. The ruling clarified that there was no legal basis for China to claim historic rights to resources within the sea area enclosed by the so-called Nine-Dash Line. This was the first international ruling related to East Sea disputes, which was supported by the international community.
The great revolutionary leader of the 20th century and a close friend of Vietnamese people died on November 26 at the age of 90. Fidel Castro gathered and led the revolutionary forces of Cuba and founded the first socialist state in the Western Hemisphere. His funeral was held at national level in 9 days. A number of commemorating activities were also organized in different places in the world.
The majority of UK voters opted for the country's separation from the EU during the referendum on June 23rd. The event shocked the world and completely changed the political situation in the UK, which was considered one of the key pillars of the EU. It also changed the world's geopolitics, bringing with it great risks of instability for the EU in terms of politics, security, and economy.
On November 8th, Donald Trump, a populist without any political experience, won an overwhelming victory during one of the most dramatic elections in the country's history. For the first time, the U.S. has a businessman president. Trump's strategy is controversial, making it hard to predict the new U.S. administration's policy.
A series of bloody terrorist attacks in many European countries with increased brutality shocked the world, showing security gaps and poor cooperation in the continent. Along with the ghost of terrorism, the prolonged migration crisis, the political disorder after Turkey's failed coup d'etat, and worries about the new U.S. administration's policies are posing the greatest security challenges since the World War II to the EU.
Adopted by nearly 70 countries and territories, including those with highest greenhouse gas emission, the Paris Agreement officially took effect on November 11th, much earlier than expectation. This showed the stronger awareness of climate change threats. One of the typical examples is the El Niño phenomenon, which caused extreme weather conditions such as record heat in South Asia, forest fire in Southeast Asia, and serious floods in Latin America.
With the support of Russian army, in late December, the Syrian government forces took control of almost all the strategic Aleppo city, the second largest city of Syria and capital of the opposition. The developments marked an important watershed in the conflict lasting over the past nearly 6 years among supporting forces of Syrian government and the opposition and terrorist groups.
On September 26, the Colombian government and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia signed a peace agreement, ending 52 years of conflict and opening up opportunities for peace and national conciliation in the country. After being rejected in a referendum, the deal was revised and signed on November 24th. It was passed by the Colombian parliament on December 1st. It's considered a model for the settlement of conflict in many other countries such as Syria, Yemen, and South Sudan. With his contributions to the signing of historic deal, Colombia President J.M. Santos was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2016.
Since early 2016, Zika virus, a cause of many fatal diseases, has spread in many Latin American and Caribbean countries and territories, forcing the World Health Organization to declare a global emergency. The virus has encroached upon the US, Canada, a number of European countries, and many Southeast Asian countries, including Vietnam. Currently, no preventive vaccine as well as effective medicine against the virus has been found.
The largest ever data leak of over 11 million documents shed light on a series of tech invasion and money laundering activities beginning from the mid-1970s and relating to hundreds of thousands of companies over the world. The case shocked the entire world, forcing administrations and authorized agencies of many countries to launch investigations and causing many officials and politicians to step down.